Hello friends, I am Rustam, a very famous story from Ferdowsi's Shahnameh that has been translated into different languages all over the world. Be sure to watch and hear my story.
In the ancient land of Persia, where the sun painted golden sands and mighty mountains cast their shadows over the valleys, a legend was born. It began not with the clang of swords or the roar of dragons, but with the birth of a child destined to shape the course of history. That child was Rustam, son of Zal, warrior of destiny, bearer of the lion's strength. The birth of Rustam. Long ago, in a cave high in the Alborz mountains, Zal, the albino prince raised by the sacred Simorg, cradled his newborn son. The infant was immense, mighty beyond his days, with fists like iron and cries that echoed across the peaks. Even Simorg, the phoenix of legend, watched over the child with divine awe. Zal, silver-haired and wise, whispered to the winds, "This is no ordinary child. The world shall know his name." The Simorg wrapped the infant in feathers of light and whispered prophecies to the stars. Thus began the story of Rustam, the mighty Raksh. When Rustam came of age, he searched for a steed worthy of his strength. Many horses fled from his presence, sensing the storm within his soul. But one, a wild beast with the strength of a mountain and the roar of a lion, stood firm. This was Raksh, the steed of fate. Together they would shake empires. Raksh, with flaming eyes and a heart unyielding, became more than a mount. He was Rustam's shadow in battle, his brother in blood, and his voice in the silence of night. The 7 labors. News spread across Persia of Rustam's might. When King Kakavuz, ruler of Iran, was captured by demons in Mazandaran, it was Rustam who rose to the challenge. He would cross 7 realms of horror, face demons, dragons, sorcery, and despair, the 7 labors of Rustam. In the first he defeated a lion with his bare hands. In the second he fought thirst under a burning sun, guided by divine dreams. The third brought a dragon with scales of iron. Rustam slew it with cunning and fury. The fourth, a sorceress who danced in illusions, undone by Rustam's pure heart. Each labor forged him anew. The final trial was the white demon, Div Sefid. A creature of night and frost, it roared atop the mountains. Their clash shook the heavens. With the sacred feather of Simorg guiding his hand, Rustam struck the demon down, its blood hissing into the snow. Sohrab, the unknown son. But fate, cruel and silent, had written a darker tale. In the lands beyond, Rustam once loved a princess named Tamine. From their union was born a boy, Sohrab, whom Rustam never met. Raised in secrecy, Sohrab grew into a warrior of unmatched might, burning to challenge the Persian champion he had never seen. And so, the 2 titans marched toward destiny, father and son, unaware of blood bound by the same flame. The tragic duel. In a valley veiled in storm and shadow, Rustam and Sohrab met. Neither knew the other's truth. The battle was fierce, noble, thunderous. Sword clashed with sword. Raksh roared as Simorg cried in the heavens. Rustam, though older, fought with the fury of 10 men. Sohrab, youthful and divine, struck like the wind. But fate chose its hour. Rustam's blade found Sohrab's heart. The young warrior fell gasping, "My mother," she said, "my father would know me by my soul." And then, silence. Rustam knelt in agony, his cries shaking the mountains. He had slain his own son. The sun hid behind clouds and even the phoenix wept. The sun had vanished behind darkened clouds, and across the land of Persia, silence fell like a shroud. The winds no longer sang of Rustam's victories but whispered instead of tragedy. The duel with Sohrab had shaken the heavens, and Rustam's soul bore the weight of an irreversible fate. But in the stillness that followed, destiny once again stirred. The burden of grief. Rustam, once the lion of Persia, wandered the mountains alone, his heart hollow and his spirit dimmed. The name Sohrab echoed in every wind, every silent stare of the stars above. Night after night, he returned to the battlefield, haunted by the face of his son, the boy he never knew, the warrior he had slain. Zal, his father, tried to offer comfort. "The gods do not mock you," Zal said gently, "but test the pillars of your soul." Yet Rustam could not forgive himself. Not even Simorg, descending from the clouds in radiant light, could soothe the torment. Still, Persia needed its champion. The War of the East. Beyond the empire's borders, war drums beat. In the east, a rising warlord named Barzu, wielding strange magic and unmatched rage, sought to conquer all lands west of the Oxus. Rumor whispered he was born of demon's blood, and some said even he bore hatred for the name Rustam. Kakavuz, king of Persia, summoned the hero once more. "Your sorrow is yours," the king declared, but the land needs your sword. Rustam mounted Raksh again, his steed now older but no less fierce. With every gallop the earth trembled. Across deserts and mountains they rode, hero and horse, toward a rising storm. Clash in the desert. Barza's army, clad in black armor and wielding weapons of fire and shadow, met Rustam's forces in the Valley of Bones. Magic tainted the battlefield, sand turned to glass, winds roared like beasts. But Rustam, silent and blazing, led the charge. With his mace he shattered enemy lines. Arrows melted upon his shield. Barzu emerged from the smoke, cloaked in stormlight, his voice a roar. Sohrab's killer, he spat, you strike with regret. Their battle raged for days, thunder rolled, mountains cracked. But Rustam, tempered in grief and fire, summoned strength beyond mortal flesh. He struck Barza down beneath a blood-red moon. As the enemy army broke, Rustam stood tall. The lion roared once more. A glimpse of redemption. In the aftermath, Rustam found a child hiding among the fallen, no older than Sohrab had once been. The boy's eyes held terror and trust. Rustam lifted him gently. I am no monster, he whispered, perhaps to himself. That night, by the river, under the stars, Rustam sat by the fire and told the boy stories of ancient warriors, of Simorg, of courage. It was a moment of peace, brief, glowing, like dawn's first light. The rise of darkness. But peace could not last. Far in the north, where icy winds carved through mountains, the white demon stirred once more. Though slain by Rustam years ago, dark sorcery had revived the Div Sephid in new form, greater, crueler, driven by vengeance. He raised an army of shadows, of flame-born beasts, of spirits of fallen warriors. Cities vanished in a night. Even Simorg's light flickered. Zal foresaw it in flame. The war to come shall test the very soul of Persia. The call of the phoenix. Simorg descended again, landing upon the sacred cliffs, her wings trailing golden fire. You have faced sorrow, Rustam. You have walked through ash. But now you must rise as the shield of the world. And so Rustam prepared. He reforged his weapons, summoned allies from distant lands, and trained beneath moonlight and flame. In the sky the stars aligned. The age of heroes had not yet ended. The dawn broke cold over Mount Damavand. The world held its breath. For in the darkened north, the white demon, reborn through ancient sorcery, prepared to unleash his final wrath. Cities had burned. Rivers had turned to smoke. Even the name of Rustam was whispered with trembling hope. But the Lion of Persia was not done. The Council of Heroes. From every corner of the known world, warriors and sages gathered at the court of Kakavas. Zal, now aged and pale, sat in silence by a brazier of glowing coals. Simorg's feathers glimmered high in the eaves, watching. Rustam stood before them. We fight not for glory, he declared. We fight for the breath of this land. For every child's laughter, for every story yet to be told. He was no longer just a warrior. He was legend made flesh. The march to ruin. Through frozen wastes and haunted forests they marched. Simorg flew above, guiding them with trails of golden fire. Raksh, fierce as ever, carried Rustam at the head of the host. The enemy met them at the mouth of the void, a black fortress carved from shadow, where screams echoed from stone. Above it the white demon waited, massive, crowned in flame, his laughter like thunder. Rustam rode ahead alone. I killed you once, he growled. I will end you forever. The battle beyond time. The skies split as fire and storm clashed. Rustam and Div Sephid fought beneath the gaze of fallen gods. Blades shattered. Mountains crumbled. Simorg circled overhead, weaving spells of light to hold back the dark. The demon struck Rustam down, once, twice, but he rose each time, bleeding and burning, eyes locked with destiny. With a final cry that shook the stars, Rustam hurled his spear, tipped with fire blessed by Simorg. It pierced the demon's chest. Light exploded. The shadow screamed. And silence followed. Ashes and rebirth. When the dust settled, the land wept with rain for the first time in a century. Flowers bloomed on the battlefield. The fortress had crumbled to dust. Rustam stood atop the ruins, his armor scorched, Raksh beside him, breathing slow. Warriors cheered. Simorg soared, releasing a cry of eternal triumph. But Rustam turned his gaze to the stars. I have won, he whispered, but my soul still carries Sohrab. The farewell. That night, as fires glowed and heroes sang, Rustam walked alone into the mountains. Simorg followed, wings glowing like stardust. In a hidden valley beneath ancient cedars, the great hero lay down. Raksh curled beside him. Simorg perched above, her feathers shedding light like tears. And there Rustam, the son of Zal, the slayer of demons, the father of a fallen son, closed his eyes. He did not wake. Legacy eternal. They built a shrine where he slept, and the flame of his story never dimmed. Children whispered his name. Elders sang of his deeds. And every time the wind howled through the highlands, it sounded like a lion's roar. In the sky, Simorg circled still, watching, guarding, remembering. For Rustam was not gone. He had simply become legend.